Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. I'm probably not going to make this video as long as I should because there's so much to this particular thing I'm going to be talking about. I'm talking about Jesse Ribordi's epic bluegrass progressive folk rock project, The River Empires. Here's my CD. This is my album of the year from 2010. It's my album of the decade in the 2010s. And of course, there's a long explanation on what exactly this is, what happened with this, but the simplest way to describe it, is this. This is a double disc. It's called Epilogue. This came out in 2010. And it took a long time to come out because I was following them on MySpace. I don't remember who I heard about them. Casey Crescenzo of the Deer Hunter, mixed and or produced some of this. He sings on one song and plays on a few different songs on this. Jesse Ribordi returned the favor and did play on one or two tracks on the Color Spectrum. And they're good. They were at least friends, good friends, Jesse Ribordi and Casey Crescenzo. But I had not really known that much and listened to that much music from Jesse Ribordi of the River Empires. Jesse Ribordi is best known for being part of the founder, frontman, songwriter, and guitarist and singer, lead singer of the band Falling Up, who I have also gone into, and I have a few of their CDs I could talk about in a later video. But I want to focus specifically on the River Empires. There's also an offshoot of the River Empires called the Gloomcatcher, which they released an album the same exact year, the same week or the same day, and they put out actually 2 releases since. The River Empires has only put out one song called 5 Circles since, and they also did some demos and unreleased stuff the same year in 2000 later that year, but that's all that they've released. But the plan was with the River Empires, it's this big concept about 2 kids that find a bottle, a glass bottle, something with some information in it, and they go into the woods, I guess, and then their whole world and changes in effect. But this is called Epilogue. So what the deal was Jesse's plan was to write, 7 albums. And this was going to be the first one, but it's an epilogue, so it's sort of the end. It was going to go in reverse order of sorts. The music on this there's a lot of classical elements, a lot of chamber music, chamber instrumentation, a lot of bluegrass, a lot of acoustic guitar, a lot of percussion, and, vocal use. And it took, I was following him on MySpace. I must have found out through the Deer Hunter fans or something, because I don't remember how I did. But I was at one point following either the River Empires or Jesse Ribordi or Falling Up on MySpace. It probably was the River Empires, or it might have been Jesse Ribordi's personal page on MySpace in 2008 or 2009. And he kept on talking about how it was going to be coming soon, this needed to be done, this to be done. And it never did. I mean, literally for a year and a half, I would see blog entries. This is when I used MySpace and read the MySpace blogs, and nothing came out. I mean, I don't even know. He may have uploaded a song or some of the demos of some of the songs, but then it finally was going to be announced to come out. It did come out. I think it was early April 2010, and I was first initially kind of I like this. People are going to love this, aren't they? The people that know the Deer Hunter, and I read the fact Casey Crescenzo was involved. And then I was sort of, the first time I heard it, it's a little much. I probably screwed myself over in telling people about it. Then I listened to it again and again and again. Even though it's 88 minutes, because it's 2 CDs. And then I realized this is absolute, total, bloody genius. I mean, I guess you could say Sufjan Stevens' style of sort of conceptual chamber, acoustic elements, folk rock is similar to an extent. That's the closest similarity in terms of a more widespread, artist. But this is way different in so many ways. The classical element especially. It's modern classical. And, I mean, if I went through the track list, Toast to the Snake King, 3 Tigers, A Dimmer Lux. They use mandolin, and that's just brilliant. It's so earwormy and melodic. The Curse of... the Motorbike the Pelican, Theon the Fox, Marching of the Clocks, the sort of ending epic sort of Witch's Blossom. it's just, it flows so well. It's 88 minutes. It's definitely a case of an album that clocks in at a really long length, but doesn't feel like it. Like, I want to listen to the whole thing. It's like Beethoven's Fifth or whatever. You really want to hear it. The grandiose element of this record just, and most people that liked it didn't just like it. They loved it. I mean, it became the #1 album on Rate Your Music, but it was written up and featured on Rate Your Music at one point. Then they did a Kickstarter campaign to try to release it, trying to make the next album, and it didn't go. They didn't actually succeed. Jesse later did a Kickstarter campaign for Falling Up, at least maybe one, maybe two or three. Both of those were successful. Falling Up also had a Christian rock element, and the Christian rock and Christian music sort of community supported them. So that, I was trying to help promote the River Empires and try to get some of that fan base that knew Falling Up. And I thought, well, the Kickstarter will definitely happen if they have, 70 or 80,000 fans on Last.fm, but it didn't happen. And the ambitious 7-album project, which, to get all the musicians and the time and the cost of everything, was just, was it going to be 7 albums in 7 years, 7 albums in 25 years? I don't know. I would have just taken one album. And he posted a few years ago on Twitter, Jesse, because he still uses Twitter, talks about, he's been doing soundtracks for games. He's done a solo album, and he's done, Falling Up ended a few years ago, but he's on social media. But he said he posted something about how don't give up on the River Empires. So now we're 11 years later. I mean, I would say that I love Pepe Deluxe's Queen of the Wave from the 2010s, but this is still my favorite record. And if we never get anything more from the River Empires, we have this. I would like to get another copy, actually, but I would say that, it's progressive rock of a kind, but it's definitely one of those things when if it wins you over, you're going to be like, wanting to tell people about it. It's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I would say the only albums of the last 20 years that are better is Blood Moon and Shame of the True for me, probably. I mean, I go on the fence, but if I was doing an essential albums for the 2000s and 2010, this would be near the top of the list. It's not like a energetic, catchy, earwormy, like pop album. And if you like Jesse Robordi, you like this, you probably would like the Gloomcatcher and Falling Up. Some of Falling Up stuff I really like too, but this is his most ambitious thing. I wonder if Casey Crescenzo, if he was involved more with it, more would have been done with this. I would forget that. I would actually be happy. I would love to see Jesse and Casey work together at some point. Again, they're both just two primary mastermind songwriters. It's a little bit of it could be like Too Many Cooks in the Kitchen scenario, potentially. I don't know. Then again, you had Gavin Castleton playing with the Deer Hunter, who's now left, unfortunately, but he's a songwriter and he's done some pretty good work. So you can have two brilliant songwriters working together in the same band. But yeah, the River Empires is brilliant. I don't even know how much of this is actually online to listen to. It's on Bandcamp. Go to the Bandcamp page. You can stream the whole thing. But I don't think like Spotify or even YouTube has a lot of it. YouTube has a few songs here and there, but yeah, I mean every song. It's just you look at the list. There's all these highlights, a lot of acoustic parts. These string arrangements are just breathtaking at points. There's a sort of narrative element, and he was trying to make a movie series or television show about it. I actually told Kevin Pollak, the comedian, about that. He actually was following the River Empires or something, because he used to do the chat show, and I'd send him a message like, well, could someone actually help Jesse Robordi get this into Hollywood? Because he wanted to make it into a TV series or movie. That was the most ambitious primary goal if he had his druthers. But he isn't working on soundtracks for like games and stuff. Maybe eventually he'll get his foot in the door and this could become a reality, either a TV series or I don't know, or even just making one more album or one long video. Make a video for a couple of these songs. It doesn't matter if it's 10 years later. So anyway, thank you for watching. Go ahead, give it a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.